Hello, everyone, and welcome to Talking After Dark. Got a question for you. Have you ever seen Jerry Springer or one of those other shows that do the DNA testing to find out who the father is, and at the end of the testing or whatever it is they're doing to make the woman look absolutely ridiculous, you usually hear these terms or these words: such and so, you are the father, or you are not the father. But let's just deal with the fact that you are the father. So what does that mean? So now you've taken the test, you've heard the dispute from the woman, you've heard the dispute from the man, and she is absolutely adamant that this person is the father. And sometimes she's right and he is the father, but many a times, as we see, for sensationalism and for TV purposes, they usually are not. But let's just deal with you are the father. And what does that mean? So now you're the father. You know that you are the father of a human being, be it boy or be it girl. When it's a girl and the mother has the daughter child and she raises her to be a pretty little angel and all those kind of things. But let's talk about the boy. So a mother has a boy whose father has been identified as the father. And this fight has gone on for years because now the child is several years of age. So the father has been off the hook for all this time and have not paid any child support or spent any time with the child. And in those young, youthful days, or young baby days, some would say it's not a big deal because the baby is at a point where they're not doing anything, they don't know anything, they're not anything. That's a lie. Because the younger the child is, are those years when you establish in that child the right from wrongs, the wrong from rights, and all those other things that make the child a productive human being and make them aware of they are loved by someone, they're cared for by someone, and someone has showed the fact that this child is loved and has had love and has understood the mother-father concept, has someone that has spent some quality time with them, have raised them in such a way that they have taught them some things about life and about living, about right, about wrong, about emotions, about how to date, about how to live, about how to provide for his family, and all those things that a father teaches his son that a mother's not supposed to be teaching her son. Of course she does, because many a times the father's not there. So the mothers nowadays have become the mother and the father. With that being said, there's still some things that a woman just can't teach a boy. You know, as a law enforcement officer, I deal with these young kids all the time that find themselves in troubling situations. And I always manage to ask them this question: where's your father? What did your daddy teach you? What did your daddy tell you about right and wrong, or about the streets and about crime and criminality and all those things? The first thing they say, 9 out of 10 kids, I don't have no daddy. I didn't grow up with my daddy in the house. My daddy was never there. But what am I saying to you? Fathers, you have got to step up. You have got to play your role. You have got to do your job. You can't just make these kids and leave it upon these women to raise these boys. These ladies are catching hell. The reason they're catching hell is because you're not there. You're not there. Anytime you watch the news and the news comes on and it's a situation where some young black kid is in trouble, it's always the mother that's crying on TV talking about, oh, not my child, oh, not my son. That's my baby. My baby wouldn't do that. It's always the mother downtown at Central Lockup bonding a child out of jail. It's always the mother that's taking her last to do for these kids. It's always the mother finding herself in some situation with some knucklehead because she knows she needs a man in the house to help raise this boy. So then she finds herself in a relationship with somebody that, if things were on an even keel and in a right perspective, where the father is spending some time with this child, she would have no need to subject herself sometimes to these relationships that are just unwarranted, that are not good for her, and they're not even good for the child. No other man is going to love your child the way you're supposed to. But it happens because there are some men who are about the right thing, and they love the woman enough to be a father to the fatherless child. They raise your kids. They show them right from wrong. They teach them the things that they're supposed to learn. They teach them when it's time to have sex. They teach them about the birds and the bees. They teach them about wearing condoms and having safe sex. They teach them about dating, and they teach them what a hammer is, what a saw is, what a tire is on a car, how to change the oil. Those are all the things that you're supposed to be doing. But somebody else is taking the responsibility for raising your child. Your kids are out there in the streets wreaking havoc on these communities because they feel unloved. They feel like you don't care. They should never feel that way. That is an awful situation to put a child in. They didn't ask to come here. You had a relationship with this woman, although it may have been brief, although the pregnancy was an accident. It wasn't supposed to happen, but it did. And because it did, you can't escape the responsibility and the legal obligation to raise your children, be it boy or be it girl. I'm speaking more specifically about boys because it's the boys that's raising hell in these streets. With the same comment. I don't have a daddy. Nobody loves me. My dad is not in my house. You go on from one relationship to the next relationship and you leave these kids behind. Just because you broke up with the mother and things didn't work out with her, that is no excuse. That is no reason for you not to be a father to your children. And if the woman that you're with don't push you towards your children to make sure that you take care of them, how in the hell can she expect you to be any kind of man in her house? But they do it all the time. All the time. I've heard of situations where women would tell men, well, you here now, you're not there anymore. The money you make goes in this house, not that. Are you serious? You deprive these children of the very thing that they need for their survival, especially the boys, a man in their lives, somebody to raise them right, to teach them right from wrong, to teach them what a man looks like. It ain't just because they have genitalia. These boys are hurting. They're screaming out loud for somebody to hug them, to kiss them, to hold them, to tell them that they love them. Your ex or your wife or whomever, they should not bear the burden and the responsibility of raising your children by themselves. They didn't make them by themselves. It doesn't matter if you guys are together or not. The fact is you have a child. You are going to have to communicate with each other. You're going to have some kind of a relationship where these children can still feel loved. They don't feel like they're a mistake. They don't feel like nobody cares about them or nobody loves them. They should not have to be looking for you. You should be looking for them. You should always know where your child is, whether you're in the same household with them or not. They need you. They are crying out loud. If you don't believe me, look at the news. Every day you see these young black kids, these boys, getting in all kind of trouble. They want to be recognized. They want to be seen. They want to be heard. They want to be loved. They don't have any love for you, so they feel like the streets is the only family they have, the only love they have. At some point, they get too old for these women to have to deal with. They can only do so much. And we ask them to do more. So not fair. So not fair. Fellas, I'm going to need you guys to level up. I'm going to need you guys to stand up, to step up, and to put up. Put up your dukes and fight for your children. Let no mother, no woman deny you of the right to spend time with your children, especially your boys. Nowadays, with these little girls and having other men in the house, come on, guys. You see the news. You read the stories. You know what's going on. These women need help. They don't need help from Social Security. They don't need help from food stamps. They need you. They need you to step up and take ownership of your children and to know where they are and what they're doing. They need to have a relationship with you. All these boys are growing up with no father. That's crazy. But yet you go make a baby somewhere else and you want to be the father of the year. Are you serious? Are you serious? You can't be the father of the year because you do right by one set of children and do wrong by the other ones. Where they do that at? I'm sick and tired of hearing these stories about the men that are not owning up. They're not owning their children. They're not stepping up into their rightful place, doing the right thing by these kids. They didn't ask to come here, but they are here. They need you. They want you. You should want them and need them too. Come on, guys. It's not too much to ask that you forget about the relationship that you're having with the mother and you own the relationship with your children. That's the least you can do. You want to know when the crime's going to stop? You want to know when people are going to be able to walk the streets and don't feel threatened by 10 and 11-year-olds who feeling unloved, unneeded, neglected when you step up? When you level up and take your rightful place, when these women stop having to be the mother and the father, the crime in the streets are going to stop. The police won't be chasing your children down. Neither will the demons in the streets. Men, you have got to level up and give these women a break. They are asked to do way too much. Having to be the mother and the father, having to be in these relationships just because they need somebody to help them take care of their kids and do what they need to do. Come on, guys. Come on. These kids deserve more. And ladies, you should have a ton of comments about this segment. A ton of comments. And I can't wait to hear some of the stories that you have to tell and some of the comments that you're going to post. And I'm sorry that we even have to have this conversation, but enough is enough.